Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets, written and directed by Luc Besson, and based off of the critically acclaimed graphic novel series Valerian and Laureline. The film follows human agents Major Valerian and Sergeant Laureline as they embark on a mission to stop a threat to the space station Alpha, which is home to hundreds of species of different aliens, including humans, who are all living in peace. Hello, and welcome to Exploring Cinema. Let's get on to the review. Before I get into this, just know that I have not read any of the graphic novels, so I'm not going to judge this as a fan of the source material because I can't. I'm just a man who loves cinema and who is judging this as what it should be judged as, a film. I'm mainly going to focus on our two leads, with one minor exception, but we will get to that later. First we have Dane DeHaan as Valerian. I had many issues with his performance, but those that the ones that were consistent issues were in order. He looked way too young to play that kind of role. I mean, the man looks 16, maybe 17, and I'm supposed to believe that he's 25? Come to think of it, I don't really remember what his age was supposed to be. And then there was his voice. He had a very deep voice, which actually did make him seem just a bit older, but the problem was that he always had the same voice. The inflections in his voice were constant throughout, never seeming to project true emotion through his voice, but instead using words to express those emotions. And lastly, I just didn't believe him in the role. And then we have Cara Delevingne. Now, for her, I have never seen a performance from her that didn't make me want to scream in anger. I thought that she was a terrible pick in Paper Towns, and her performance as the Enchantress in Suicide Squad was laughable, especially with this. And I had heard other critics say that she actually saves this film, so it did make me a bit more interested, and after seeing her perform, I can say that without a doubt, the critics are wrong. She continues to be lacking in the talent department. She pretty much had the exact same facial expression throughout. There was even this one scene that I can remember the most with just her in it, where she is looking at something that no human, and even most of the aliens that are on the station have never seen before and probably will never see. And I was just sitting in my seat, just staring at the event in awe. And then she takes me out of the film by slightly cocking her head to the side and simply saying, "Wow." Not to mention that, like with DeHaan, I also had trouble with her vocal inflections as well, always speaking in a monotone fashion. Seriously. She gave up modeling for this? And it was obvious, just for cliché's sake, that these two characters were going to be, entangled romantically. And as for the lead chemistry, the chemistry between both of them, there's none! I am not even going to make you guys wait for it. I'm not even going to hint that it's going to be only to end with me saying that it's horrible. There's absolutely no chemistry between their two characters, and they're supposed to be in love with each other or something, but I wasn't given a reason to actually believe in their love. Hell, even if they just said that they were just really, really good friends, I wouldn't even believe that! Now for the exception that I mentioned. Everybody who saw the trailer knows that Rihanna, and yes, the one you're thinking about, is actually in the film. She has a very minor role, and she's on for a surprising amount of screen time, so I do have to talk about her. So I will say that she can actually act. I was actually pretty intrigued by what she brought to the table, and there was even a couple of times where, honest to God, I didn't even recognize her. She actually was able to disappear into the role a bit. However, her character was extremely useless. Useful to the plot, but not to the film, and I'll explain that a little bit later when I'm talking about some of the issues that I had with the story itself. Overall, the acting across the board is just ferocious and mediocre. Just plain bad, with Rihanna standing out, but only because she did an okay job. This film had some really amazing and brilliant ideas. It was actually my favorite part of the movie. Whenever they would show you the multitude of alien species and just how they looked and how they conducted their daily lives as well as their technology and societies, I will be honest, my heart actually trembled because so much of it felt unique and original. And a lot of the stuff that was in there, I don't know if it's in the original source material, but I'm going to treat it as though it's never been seen before because it's that good. and they were just very experimental with everything, and I commend the filmmakers for that, I really do. But where everything falls apart is in the execution and the actual writing, especially the writing. Valerian is filled with the most over-the-top, stereotypical, shallow, and cliché dialogue I've heard in the past 2 or 3 years, and there's just so much exposition. How expositional is the dialogue? Well, it makes the characters feel one-dimensional. The greatest scripts are where we are shown things that the characters do, and from there we get insight into who they are as people. But no! We don't even get that! The very first scene that we have with just our 2 main leads has dialogue where they're both explaining things about each other. And most people don't even like it when characters are just like, "My name is Kevin. I'm intelligent, brave. I'm hard on the outside, but I'm soft on the inside. I've been in a string of relationships, but none of them meant anything like you do to me." And then somebody replies, "Kevin, you do not know what love is. You are afraid of commitment." And for that dialogue of what I just made, I didn't even have to make it up. You know why? I stole it from the movie! While the story itself, just by itself, is really good, too much time is spent focusing on other things. The wrong things, in fact. Oh, excuse me. For instance, there's a long, way too long part in the middle where progression just slows down to a crawl. And it's so out of place that it doesn't affect the characters going forward. And it seemed to be only in the story in order to add more characters to see, species, and just to experience as well as showing off visual techniques just as much as showing off other visual spectacles, which were great, but I would have rather it just focused on the story than I had to sit through that portion of the film. And remember how I said that Rihanna's character was useless? Her character is only in that portion, that's pointless section of the film, and while I enjoyed the character, because that section wasn't needed, then her character wasn't needed. If you had just taken about 20 to 25 minutes out of the middle, then the film would actually have been way better. The saving grace for Valerian is in the visuals. Oh my god, the amount of detail just put into the locations, the aliens, the technology is just astounding. It rivals everything that's been done under Disney so far, even the Jungle Book. And the colors just truly pop out in this film. There are many times where the colors will be much darker, but because of that, it causes the brighter ones to truly just, well, pop! This film has visual creativity and it's unpredictable with that creativity. There are popsicle-colored clouds of red, white, and blue, glowing butterflies, and an immense bazaar, or a marketplace, that exists invisibly on an arid planet, but when visitors put on a headset, they're immediately transported into that huge marketplace. I can't go too much further without talking about things that'll go more into spoiler territory, so I'm not going to say anything. Just know that this is truly a visual triumph. The music was composed by Alexander Desplat, the composer for films like Grand Budapest Hotel, Argo, and The Danish Girl, as well as really closely composing the score for Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. This was a very hypnotic score, feeling epic in scale, but also feeling just the most appropriate score for a sci-fi action spacefaring film that I've seen in the past 2, maybe 3 years. This is a score that I would love to own, and whew. To recap, Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets is a mediocre film with terrible acting all throughout with one minor exception, a good story with great and even original ideas for a sci-fi film that is ruined due to the lack of focus and horribly written dialogue, but the film is saved slightly by groundbreaking visuals and the musical score. I wish I had more fun with this film, but I really didn't. I'm gonna give Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets a 2.5 out of 5 reels. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me ramble. So, what did you guys think of Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets? Holy shit, that is a mouthful. Anyway, did you guys love it? Did you hate it? You haven't seen it yet? You were indifferent? What were its strengths? What were its weaknesses? Leave your opinions in the comment section down below, because I want to know your thoughts. I welcome new perspectives. Be sure to subscribe if you have not already for more reviews and content. There is always more to come. And for other ways to help support the channel, please check out in the description down below. Thank you once again for watching, and farewell until the next video. Bye.